What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds. I'm Michael.
I'm Leroy.
I'm excited, man.
Well, I'm happy for you.
You're not excited? Did you watch this show growing up?
Yeah, it was alright.
We're talking about Animaniacs. New trailer came out. I'm hyped because all of that Steven Spielberg stuff, Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, Freakazoid, Hysteria, all that stuff was big to me. And Animaniacs is finally coming back after like more than 2 decades off. I'm huge fan, Animaniacs. Got to see them in concert, a lot of the voice actors, including Rob Paulsen, at Comic-Con last year. So I'm happy just that this is coming back, and this is a show that is it does a good job at being for kids, but also being for adults. So, thoughts?
Let's see the trailer.
Okay.
Hello. Reboots are symptomatic of a fundamental lack of originality in Hollywood.
Have you no shame?
Here's your check for the Animaniacs reboot, you sellouts.
It's time for Animaniacs. You should see our new contracts. All right, guys, there's a lot of pressure on our first lines. Wait, don't. Make sure it's good first. Maybe something reminiscent of the first season?
22 years later, and I'm still a knockout.
I've tried online dating, but I keep getting catfished. How do I know she's even real?
This tablet contains the sum of all human knowledge.
All human knowledge in one easy-to-swallow tablet? Quantum mechanics, quinoa wraps, Queen Bey. We've missed so much. Oh, sounds like an odyssey.
My sandwich! Just where I left it.
Yakko, turn on the black light. Nothing unusual there.
Gee, Brain, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
We found party!
I am the Pegasus. I come bearing horrible tidings of war from the...
Yeah. Less talky, more flappy.
We're Animaniacs, totally insane.
Never mansplaining.
Animaniacs.
Now, the adoration pours in.
Nerf!
Yeah. That is what I wanted for me.
Not bad. Not bad.
I think this show, it's never going to be as hard as a satire, say something like Borat coming out in a few days. But I think they're going to try and do what they can in their own animated way.
I think they did the smartest thing they could have done by talking about the elephant in the room about remakes and reboots.
Yeah.
I don't know how... I want to know who this is for.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like it. And I think I really love the Animaniacs from when it came out. It was at the time that it came out, it was for kids, and yes, adults did like it.
Mm-hmm.
My question is this for the kids who grew up on Animaniacs, or
Yes.
so it's not for kids?
I think it's for both.
See,
I think it skews more towards the people who grew up with it, because I've seen a couple of interviews with Rob Paulsen talking about, when they finally got to do this is really going to hit home for those people who grew up with it.
And see, I guess that's my, I don't want to say problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's very hard to straddle that line
Mm-hmm.
with satire. And they do a great job on a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to, and in this day and age, I think, not that you have to be harder or you have to be racier, it's very hard to be that middle of the road.
Sure.
So I think if they're going after the adults, I think this would be great. Mm-hmm. Because to me, Animaniacs always were right on the line. And I feel like it could have been better if they just went over it, like if there was no line. Kind of like with Boondocks, Rick and Morty.
South Park?
Boondocks, Rick and Morty.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
South Park has its moments,
Uh-huh.
and I will never not like certain episodes. Tree Fitty, you know,
Yeah.
Hello Bean.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some great moments, but South Park's problem is there are times that they're wrong, and they're not willing to admit, in my opinion, that that their take is wrong.
Okay.
They try to be so edgy and so over the top that it's like sometimes they take a look at an issue and you're like, really? That's where you went with it? Okay. But it is hard to go and be that animated satire like without dumbing it down. I mean, we just talked about Lower Decks, and I think kids can watch Lower Decks, but it's not a kid's show.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping. I'm wondering what this is going to be. Is this going to be a kid's show, or is it going to be, yeah, your kid can watch it, like kind of like with the Venture Brothers?
Yeah. To me, I feel like it's going to be like, your kid can watch it. I think. Because a couple of the things we saw, I mean, I saw a giant orange person with yellow hair. I was like, interesting.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't, I guess that's what I'm getting at. You can't really satire certain things on a kid's level without the nuances of what that thing is.
Yeah.
So
we saw Pinky and the Brain. It looks like the Brain might be running for some type of office or something. It looks like they were doing some type of election stuff. So
I mean,
I'm excited.
I want to see if Slappy the Squirrel comes back. Like, it's some of those vignettes or those little episodes of the Pigeons that was based on The Sopranos. Are you still going to
Goodfellas or whatever?
Yeah. Are you still going to be able to do that?
Yeah.
2020 is a different. 2020 and 2021, when this is supposed to be coming out, it's a whole different game than it was.
True.
When you could get away with certain things
Yeah.
that you might. So I'm wondering to see how well they play it, how well it is, because it's you can either do a great job or you can swing and a miss.
I think Hulu and Animaniacs will definitely get the benefit of the doubt for the first episodes from people who really loved it, because they're going to be like all over it. And I think they almost have a little bit of a cushion because, as like you said, as crazy and over the top as Animaniacs was, it never went full wild like a Boondocks or a show like that did. So if it still straddles that same line, I think it might get a little bit of a pass. Like, oh, it didn't go far enough. It's like, yeah, but the original never necessarily went that far.
But see, and that's
maybe that could work in his favor.
like I said, that's why I'm trying to figure out who is. You always want to know who the audience is for your show, and I'm all for more animated shows that are for adults, that are for or an older generation, not necessarily like your Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Or Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
I'm all for some of these shows that push the envelope, and it would be great to see the Animaniacs and see how well they handle. Let's be honest, the Me Too movement. They talked about mansplaining.
Yeah.
They did the little black light joke.
Yeah.
We will have they gonna make fun of Black Lives Matter. Like all of these different things. How are you going to handle this new world that we live in? And I think they're a great vehicle for it. It's just a matter of Warner Brothers going to let them take the gloves off?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Steven Spielberg produced thing. He's an EP on it, so I mean that'll kind of, I guess that kind of dictates exactly how far they may go, as he probably has like the final say, more or less. I'm happy that we saw a couple callbacks. We saw Yakko Sandwich. I'm sorry, Wacko Sandwich. And that he always had that sandwich with him, so I'm excited. So seeing that makes me think maybe we'll get some of those recurring segments. Like maybe we'll get the what was the wheel spin of time, the wheel that spun or whatever. Maybe we'll get Slappy, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
I'm very interested to find out why it's on Hulu too.
According to an interview that I saw with Rob Paulson, they shopped it around with a bunch of people. Hulu was the one to bite.
But I guess
because, and this is me inferring, but the interview I saw, it was with Kind of Funny with Greg Miller on We Have Best Friends, whatever, and he talked about they had been shopping this around for a while about bringing Animaniacs back. And Rob Paulson made a big point of saying Steven Spielberg wanted to bring it back, and he wanted to bring it back with the original people. So what I got from that was other networks were maybe interested, but they didn't want to bring the original people back. And Hulu was like, yeah, let's do it.
But why? Because are they...
Why now?
No, not now. Why now?
Oh.
Aren't they still a property of Warner Brothers?
I
guess what I'm saying is, who owns the rights to this? Because if it's Steven Spielberg, why didn't he bring it to Apple? Because he is a... And then two, if they're still a Warner Brothers property, Warner Brothers has their own freaking... So, I guess that's what I'm like, what? Like, Hulu...
Well, when we see this, did we ever...
It's Hulu original, and it doesn't say anything about the Watchtower.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They don't mention, like, the security guard or who at Warner Brothers, so maybe it's no longer Warner Brothers.
But that's what I'm asking. That's my question.
I got you.
Maybe we need to probably... It says... Because I've noticed this. Executive producer Steven Spielberg, which I'm not saying you can't be a producer and then work and do other things, but Apple made a big deal about Steven Spielberg producing content.
Yeah.
And Spielberg was another one of those old dudes who was crapping all over.
Streaming stuff.
Yep. And then it was like, oh yeah, he signed a deal. And it's like, well, you didn't even bring your own thing to Apple. And I'm like, like what's that? I guess the science or the things behind all of this is very interesting to me.
Yeah, and I'm curious if it's a thing of maybe a deal broke down and they couldn't agree on bringing back the original people. I don't know.
Because to me also your platform dictates what your content is.
Yeah.
And so we know if it went to an HBO Max, we know what kind of quality it is. We know if it went to Apple, what kind, or Disney Plus. So that's why I said with Hulu, it could be anything. And that goes back to my question of how is this going to work? And is this a limited series? Or are they bringing this back on a regular basis? I have so many questions.
13 episodes for now, and I would imagine if it goes well, they'll bring it back. Because I talk about Rob Paulson like he's my friend of the show, Rob Paulson.
Speaking into existence.
Yeah. When I did get to see them 2 years ago or whatever at San Diego Comic-Con, they were doing Animaniacs in concert. And they've been doing that for a few years in terms of just kind of going back and doing their voices and redoing a bunch of the songs in concert. And they had talked about trying to bring this back. So I feel like this has been a campaign that's been going on for a while to not just be one season if it's successful.
Hey, I hope it works for them.
Yeah.
It is a very... I always looked at Animaniacs, and maybe because it's how I am, it's hard to recapture that magic. And we know that because look how long it's taken Warner Brothers to get Bugs Bunny and them right again.
Yeah.
After so many reboots.
Yeah. Those little shorts are pretty good, by the way.
The shorts are, but look how long it took them to get that.
Yeah.
It's been years since they've been Bugs Bunny that's been as funny
Yeah.
as those earlier episodes.
Sure.
I mean, I've watched. They don't have all of them, but I watched a good number of them. And Katie was like, "How many times have you seen these?" Because I know beat for beat what's about to happen. And I was like, me and my dad used to watch this religiously. I was like, I can quote you Yosemite Sam. You know, when I say whoa, I mean whoa. When he hit a camel in the head with a shotgun, that's just classic. So
Yeah.
I want to see how they can get away with some of this stuff now.
Okay. Let us know if you guys are excited for Animaniacs and what other shows you would like to see come back, animated shows to come back. Personally, none. I hope this is successful, and I really want Hysteria to come back. I'm one of the few people that watched it, but man, Hysteria was great.
I think the best thing they did was having Yakko started off reboots or cash grab. I mean, like that was,
And they had the Hulu bit.
and that's what I was like. I was like, that shows self-awareness, and already I'm on board because I wasn't at first. I'm not gonna lie, I was not at first. I was like, but Yakko so
We can see in the video.
I was like,
we know.
because I was like, this is just because I mean, there's a lot of reboots and remakes. You're like,
Yeah.
and then some of them really do work, and some of them don't. So
Maybe it'll be like Lower Decks was for you. Because I remember when we did the reaction
but
for
Lower
that,
Decks
you weren't
wasn't
on board.
Lower Decks wasn't a reboot.
Right. I just mean in terms of you not being on board, and maybe it captures you by the
I mean,
end.
it might. It's sometimes like when you see something and something that was so want to say so personal, but it was so timely in the time that it came out. It hit at the right time, and it's hard to catch that lightning in the bottle. I loved Invader Zim. The movie that came out that was Invader Zim was
The
decent.
Netflix thing was okay, but it wasn't the show.
It didn't catch, and so
it wasn't the show.
And it's like, you tried, and you're like, and so sometimes you're like, maybe things don't need to come back. Because I'm telling y'all, I'm warning you right now, enjoy your Firefly episodes, because it ain't coming back, and if it does, you wouldn't like it. I'm a firm believer in that. Sometimes things just need to end.
Yeah.
Because the reboot is not going to be what you think it is. I'm scared as hell of Battlestar Galactica. Because I'm like...
Where is that at, by the way?
Peacock.
Is that supposed to be on Peacock?
It's on Peacock. Sam Esmail.
The guy from Mr. Robot, right?
Yeah. He's supposed to be doing it.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's the way you do a reboot. But they're trying to do it again, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to work. But hey, I've been wrong before.
Like, comment, subscribe for more foolishness right here on YouTube, but also you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WOTX.com. Find the bell around us wherever it is, and